everybody. Thanks so much for joining. We're just going to give it about 5 minutes here, and then we'll get started. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Thanks. All right, I think we can get started. So thank you everybody for joining us today on today's webinar, An Introduction to SEO for Publishers. My name is Shana Cavuto. I'm manager of the Publisher Care Team here at Pepperjam. Super excited to be joined by our very own SEO guru and SEO director, Steve Weber. So just before we get started, a couple things I wanted to mention is feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation to the questions box. We'll answer and address those all at the very end. And also, we are recording a copy of this webinar. So if you're interested in obtaining a copy of that, please reach out to either me or Steve after the presentation. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Steve.
Thanks, Shana. Let's do this. So you'll see in the lower right corner, I did put a bit.ly link up. In this slide presentation, I included links for any of the tools that I mentioned. And if you could take a moment, and I should say if you're interested to take a moment, jot down that URL and you can download a copy of this where you can link out to any of the tools that are provided in here. Everything I do mention is free, so that is a URL you're going to want to jot. And I'm pretty sure I have it on the next slide too. So what are we in store for today? Okay, so the first section, I'm going to talk about SEO and some affiliate marketing myths. So there are some myths out there that leave affiliate marketers, publishers to believe that SEO is completely dead. Not the case. We're going to go through 3 of those myths and how you could actually use those to your advantage. Next, we're going to learn how search engines work, really go into the basics. Section 3, I'm going to cover exactly that. How can you optimize your landing pages so that you get more traffic? And as a publisher, how do we make the SEO basics relevant to you? We're going to go rather quickly today, so we're going to keep the energy going. And section 4, I'm going to answer your questions. So I'll try and be as quick as I can. If you do have any questions, please use the question box. My counterpart, Shana here, is going to field all the questions, and we will answer them at the end. So what is this acronym that's on the screen? What is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. It's otherwise known as natural search. You'll hear me call it organic search. Basically what we're talking about is how do we use a search engine, Google, Bing, Yahoo, to get free traffic without any sort of ad spend. So that is the topic of discussion today. And I am the SEO director here at Pepperjam. So I'm part of the Pepperjam family, and I'd like to give you guys every last ounce of knowledge that's floating through my head so that you could be part of our network and rank your website higher as well. So usually when I do an SEO basics course, I have a slide that's got, I don't know, maybe 20 different stats about why Google and organic and SEO is just not dead. And I'm really finding that this one quote, if you ever felt that organic search was a dying art, just think about this quote for 1 second. This is a couple years old too, so I imagine the percentage here has only grown since then, but it's of the millions of queries that Google receives every single second, 15% of those were never searched on Google before. So what does that mean to you as a publisher? It means if you find a phrase that you can optimize your landing page around, and that could catch on, it gets buzzed over time, you are now the most relevant result, and you are earning traffic. This 15% means the underdog wins. Now, how do we use some of these myths that might be floating around in your head to our advantage? The first one, it's that affiliate links themselves are dangerous for SEO. And you know what? I'm going to pick one side of that argument to dispel it and say no. No affiliate links are not dangerous, but it's in what you're trying to promote on your landing page, on your website, that Google might value or devalue. So let's take the side of the argument to play it safe, where even if you have any doubt in your mind about the things that you link to, you should use the HTML rel equal no follow tag. So in this slide, I give you the example, but basically an anchor tag link. This is the very, very basic structure of HTML here under this bullet point. So chances are your links might be a little more robust if you're using pictures or different anchor text, but the rule still is the same for you too, where basically inside your link, you would, after you put the URL that you're linking to, in this example, it's signin.php, close the quote on it, space, rel equal no follow with quotes. If you type that exactly into your template, and I imagine many of us are using a CMS like WordPress or Magento, all of which have plugins to be able to do this. Just make your links rel equal no follow, and then Google, when Google gets to your site, in a minute we're going to talk about what that process looks like for Google. They have that flag here that says, hey Google, I'm raising my hand, please don't follow this, and they won't. And then you don't have to worry if what you're doing is dangerous, not dangerous, it's fine. This also applies if you're going out and getting links to point back to you. So in SEO, links are still a valuable tool in your kit, and if you get other parts of the web to point back to you, and those other parts of the web, those other websites linking back to you that you feel are dangerous web environments to be linking back to you, the opposite rule applies, where you might want to have them no follow back to you. We could talk about that more later. Let's go on to this second myth though. Affiliate links have no SEO value to pass. I put this one as number 2 deliberately because I would have at this point already had to tell you my side of the argument here with, if you're even slightly worried, make your link no follow. But please know, the moment you do that in SEO, in our culture as an organic marketer, if you do make something no follow, we tend to believe that that's got no value to pass. And in 2018, I don't believe that's true anymore. I think the way it's really working is if someone clicks through to your link, that's got value to pass. If you could get more eyeballs from site A to your site, which is site B, that's a valuable link, regardless of if it's valuable in the eyes of an organic search result. It's just straight brand awareness and traffic, and I'm sure that's all why you guys are part of the Pepperjam fam to begin with. So, do affiliate links have no value to pass? I have to say this. Since the latest Penguin algorithm, so Penguin is Google's animal-named automatic algorithm designed to demote sketchy links, it's said that this automatic algorithm is most likely not passing value for most links out there anyway, regardless of if the motivating factor behind it is an affiliate link, a sponsored link, a paid for link that you got just to promote your own rankings. Right now in time and space in our field, it's said that they probably have no value to pass anyway. So Google's just making these links null and void without you even needing to put no follow on them. But as I said a second ago, my observation is as long as a link is bringing you traffic, and as long as that audience finds your landing page that they wound up on valuable, that is the name of the game in 2018. And you'll see a lot of the slides to follow really come with that message. The third myth, Google will not rank affiliate sites. You know what I have to say to that? What about Slick Deals? What about Retail Me Not? These are giant domains that have the same strategy as you and I do. But it all comes down to, on your landing page, are you providing sufficient value that Google wants to send its searchers, its users, to your website. That really is the name of the game. So as you stare at this slide and hear my voice on this one, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you take one message from this SEO basics course of 2018, 2 words for you: sufficient value. Think about those 2 words as you create every single page on your website. And I mean every page. Ask yourself, does this page provide sufficient value? And I really mean that to be tough on yourself with that, because if you have a landing page that just has a coupon code that's expired, ask yourself, if you were Google, would you rank this? The answer is most likely no. So if you draw your eyes to the lower right corner of the slide, you're probably wondering, who's this guy that I put a tweet of? Well, Google still in 2018 does not give away its secret sauce, but the staff of Google, they do. There's no more Matt Cutts. There's no more public figurehead for SEO. We now have a couple people. We have John Mueller and Gary Ilyish. They're both Google Webmaster Trends analysts out of Sweden, and both, they do a decent job at remaining accessible. And if you ever had a question, you really could tweet at them. And if they can answer it openly, they will. Now, I should say, they don't give away anything, and I'm sure they are held to very stringent standards in the things that they could say versus what they cannot. But look what Gary Ilyish did tweet last year. This came from March 14th, so nearly a year ago. He wrote, "Did you know there's no inherent problem with affiliate links? The problem's when a site's sole purpose is to be a shallow container for affiliate links." So that's straight from their mouth. That's what Google feels about an affiliate or a publisher link that is monetized. If you draw your eyes to this screenshot that I took of Google's guidelines, so Google has a massive guideline that their web quality rater guidelines. I said it a little funny, but that's the name of it. If you were to Google search that, Google quality rater guideline. It's like a 90-page document. And what that is the team that trained Google's algorithm, they have to sign an NDA and they have to take a test so that they determine what websites are quality results versus which are not. And I'm sure in 2018 what they're really trying to solve for is, how do I take what that team has logged and what that team has learned, create a machine automatic program that mimics that to the best of our ability. So they're trying to automate that. But they did put an abridged version of that online, and it looks like this. And over the last year, they added this one new bullet point, which is so relevant to our audience and our mission here at Pepperjam. And it's this one I have a green rectangle around. It says, sufficient guidelines is participating in affiliate programs without adding sufficient value. So I know I'm belaboring the point here, but when it comes to SEO and our mission, you really have to say those 2 words and answer for sufficient value. Make sure your pages really provide sufficient value. So if you're going to create 15,000 landing pages that only have 1 coupon code, take that energy and effort instead and write a 500-word blog post saying why the products you're promoting are great. That is probably the one tip that I had for you today, but there's still tons more hidden gems that I have for you coming up. But please, sufficient value till the cows come home, guys. All right, as we get into the SEO basics, one sentence to remember. Google's in business to deliver the best result. And I have best in red here because that, of course, that's subjective. And now in 2018, in this machine learning environment, it's subjective to the searcher, what they search, the results. There's so many different variables. But for the sake of our webinar here today and simplifying everything, let's define best as most relevant, just as Google used to and is likely still most of the time, trying to deliver the most relevant result to what the searcher is looking for, asking, looking to buy, you name it. What is most relevant to what they want? Here's a quick one-slide crash course into how Google, Bing, Yahoo, they all work. So I'm going to just breeze through this from left to right. And it's like this. With over 60 trillion individual landing pages live at any one moment, Google's got to go and collect all of that. So if you look at this picture on the left, think of each of these little squares as a web page. And Google will, it's called crawl. They use a technology called a spider. They'll use that technology finding a landing page and then crawling through it, going from link to link to link to link to build this middle picture here that they call the index. So that's Google's Rolodex snapshot of the entire internet. And at any moment in time, that's accessible on your phone. What a time to be alive. Isn't that cool? Here's what makes Google, in the eyes of having the greatest market share, the best search engine. It's their proprietary algorithms. It's the fact that they do such a good job delivering relevant results. So to summarize, Google crawls from link to link to link, builds its index, and ranks you based on its algorithms. As I said before, they don't give away their secret sauce, but you do have people like us as part of the Pepperjam family that have tons of experience to help you learn if you are hot or cold. And I can't thank you enough for dialing in today to hear us rant about it. So what is an organic result? What is a paid result? Which is which? Things are changing for Google. And right now, on the right side of this slide, everything in blue is bought and paid for. These are all links. So Pepperjam actually did a study on these shopping ads that are up at the top, these ads that are actually pictures. You might not have even known they were ads. They are. They're filled out from a data feed, and these ads that you might know are ads, these text ads right below it, still bought and paid for, their ads. For the purpose of our webinar, we are everything behind this green gradient. All of these are organic results. And this is from a desktop computer, and I was searching for, it's probably microscopic for you guys, but the search query was tennis balls for sale. Right now I did the same thing on a phone, and the first observation I have about 2018 SEO and the way the search engine results pages lay out, I'm going to flip one slide backwards. You'll notice they're nearly identical now. It wasn't always like that. The blue is still an ad, the green is still organic, and there I had to cut the screenshot off. There are still many other organic results. There on this particular search result page, there are, I think, 9. But for the most part, there are 10 positions on the first page. And it's really changed drastically in 1 year. So I had a screenshot of where to buy Alex and Ani bracelets last year. And you'll see on desktop there were more ads. The shopping ads were off to the right. In 1 year, they moved those above the text ads. And even under the organic listings, there are more ads. So things have changed in 1 year drastically. Let's get into the basics. I want to teach you some tips that you can use to optimize your website. So it all begins with what is typed into Google, Bing, Yahoo in their search box. And now with voice search, the intent behind all of this is changing slightly. So I don't know if you're new to SEO, have done it, maybe you've hopped out of the field for a little while, but keyword research and having the data to back up and know the way to phrase something, that's power. And that's still true in 2018. So in this lower left corner of this slide, I give you 7 keyword research tools. You know, on the webinar, I really do want to say number 6, keywordshitter.com. Check that one out. You pretty much type in words, click go, and it does the verb that you're thinking it would for keywords. But number 7's my favorite. It's ubersuggest.io. Neil Patel bought Ubersuggest and added some really neat features into it. And what I like most about it is in 2018, it's not so easy to get the search volume number for free. So if you use Google AdWords Keyword Planner and you're not paying for ads, what they do is they give you a search volume range rather than that definitive 550,000 number that you see here on the right side. But Ubersuggest still gives you that definitive number. And I think the tool is pretty good. It looks like this. I'll show you more about it in a minute. It's completely free to use. You type a seed keyword to get it started, and you can filter for any combination of words you want. I kind of breezed over this, but if you're new to keyword research, I'll let you know what each of these columns mean. I just said search volume. What that KPI is really answering for is the number of times that phrase to the left of it was searched per month. And keep in mind, SEO is very competitive in 2018. So if you got to ask yourself, could you provide sufficient value to outrank Puma.com? If the answer to that is no, pick a longer keyword. They call that longer tail. Pick a keyword that's a couple words, and you'll have less competition. That's a really quick tip that you could adopt. As far as CPC, that's the cost per click. So what would it cost you on average if you were going to bid on the term to the left? And then competition in Ubersuggest, Neil Patel is just giving us a range up to 1.0 for how competitive these terms are. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about how to find the right keywords. And I really want to equate this to the searcher's funnel, buyer funnel, marketing 101 right here at its best. You need to think about the landing page that you're going to optimize and what is the intent behind it. The first bracket all the way at the top of the funnel, this green section, you're going to want awareness keywords. These are the broadest, most likely the highest search volume terms. In 2018, as we use voice search, there are a lot of questions. These are going to be the general topics where the searcher is really trying to answer for their needs. Usually, these keywords would start with best or top or end with for 2018. Let's go one step lower into the buyer process. So interest keywords. These tend to be a little more specific from those awareness keywords. And for our publisher audience, when you're promoting products, this is where things will start to get a little more specific. It'll be a model number. So LG TV 305 with the model number after it. Examples of these keywords might be a specific product versus another product and its comparison. Going to the last stage before someone purchases, consideration keywords. These are very branded, they're buyer focused. It's the part of the funnel where someone's about to purchase something. So even more specific, people looking for images, the product name, the model, as specific you can get. So buy LG TV 305. So you'll hear me again say longer tail keywords. Longer means more words. So there's really head terms and long tail terms when it comes to keyword. Long just means many more words, less competitive. I want to give you an example of that funnel in action, and it would be as if I was looking to change to a different electric energy provider. So at the top of my searcher funnel, it would be, why is my electric bill so high? Interest would be, compare electric rates near me, and zip code here in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, 18701. Consideration, UGI is a provider around here. I'm not endorsing them either which way. I might be paying too much, and this might be a real search query of my own. Not going anywhere on that, but you get the idea that it's branded focus, and I'm looking for reviews to consider if I want to use UGI. I'm going to hop back one moment. So if in our example of Puma shoes, you were promoting Puma coupons, you're technically getting in the lower part of the funnel where someone already knows the exact model that they want, that you might get better results the more specific you get with that coupon. So it's just something to think about because you are thinking the purple by that point. So this Uber Suggest tool for keyword research, on the other slide, I did give you 7 examples. I like this one because it's completely free. Here's a screenshot to show you how it works. I'm trying to see if you see my mouse at all. Oh, you do. I think you do at least. Well, anyway, it's the same as before. You start at the top by searching. I searched tennis balls again, still using that same example. And you could use the filters over here. So it'll give you all sorts of keyword examples. You could sort it by how often they're searched per month. You could sort it by their cost per click. And you could even filter for those consideration keywords like buy. And that's exactly what I did here. So I filtered it for buy terms. And I see that where to buy tennis balls is searched 320 times per month. So if you download these slides and go over to the site, you could get started doing keyword research for free. A random bonus tip, so this is like pop-up video. I also like using the Chrome extension. It's called Keywords Everywhere. And just like this little rectangle that I drew for you, if you were to search anything, I was putting together another slideshow where I was using way too many Mick Jagger jokes, and it brings in the search volume for it. So if you're wondering, hey, Steve, why are you searching Mick Jagger? It was a slide that I already had. So I don't know if there's money to be made on Mick Jagger, but someone figure that out. Become part of our network if you're not already. Monetize Mick Jagger and email me. I would love that. But get this Chrome extension because it brings in all sorts of search volume in all of these places. So Google.com, Google Search Console, Analytics, Trends, you name it. It does bring search volume into the mix for you automatically. A rule of thumb with keywords. It's an old tactic to overuse keywords. So they call that keyword stuffing. Again, provide sufficient value for your audience as best as you can. Please, please, please provide sufficient value. Don't worry so much about keyword density or trying to stuff in a phrase you found that is searched 320 times per month. It's better for your audience if you write thoroughly and completely around the topic and have the keyword only in there a few times and being real careful with saying a number. Write naturally, use synonyms, because trying to stuff keywords in, trust me, no longer works. Now let's get into actionable, easy SEO tactics that you could and should use. In this machine learning version of Google, as Google starts to teach itself how to really deliver best results, the metric you want to really pay attention to is CTR, click-through rate. From Google Organic, are you earning as much traffic to your organic listing as you possibly can? And dialing in that message in 2018 really means everything. So when it comes to your SEO, keep CTR in the back of your mind. And here's how you can improve your click-through rate. So the blue clickable title that's on Google, I'm going to say 90% of the time, because Google will switch these out, but 90% of the time it's your page meta title in your source code. So if you were to go and view the source of your page and look for Control F as if you were going to find and look for title, this HTML tag for title, you should see what your title tag is. So this is an old screenshot. You can tell it's from 2017. But what you're ultimately trying to do with the title is a little bit longer than it used to be. I like to leave them around 65 characters because it still looks good in a mobile environment. And the goal with this is not to use a keyword twice. I would say use your keyword once, but importantly, engage people to click your listing. And To some extent, you might be thinking like BuzzFeed, like not exactly. Think about what is getting searched and the keyword you're using, and in that context, what would it take to earn the searcher's click on this? Because ranking is only half the battle. What good is ranking if no one clicks on your listing? And that's really the name of the game here, is once you are ranking, how do we earn the click? And then secondary, how do we keep people on our pages? So keep your meta title less than 65 characters. Write a title that makes sense for the page and really try and earn that click. I think a tactic you could use if you are going after consideration keywords is be as specific as you can and use the year. I'm going to give you one more tip if you're a WordPress user. Check out the Yoast SEO plugin. It makes editing your titles very simple. And the same rule applies with meta descriptions. So a recent update from Google came out about meta descriptions. So the description that is your Google listing, this black text, can now be up to 320 characters long. So you'll notice some of these are a little bit longer, but the screenshot's still very old. Google does not show all 320 characters, but they recently posted that they allow it, and I think it'd be a good idea for you to use as many of those characters as you can for the sole purpose of trying to earn the click. Now, just based on observation, it looks like what Google is really doing with these descriptions is whenever you or I search something online, Google's taking part of your description that's most relevant to what has been searched to create better results. And I think you could still use that to your advantage. So write a description. It's a little bit longer than it used to be. If I was presenting this last year, it would have been about 160 characters. Now it's about double. You have 320 characters to earn that click. So do what you can to tell people what's on the page and entice them enough they want to click through it. Now, before I talked about really measuring CTR. CTR again is click-through rate, and you could measure your CTR for free in Google's own data. So this is Google Search Console. It's completely free. Used to be called Webmaster Tools, and both URLs in this slide will help you sign up for it. So this is the old URL, and brand new as of a couple weeks ago, they updated it. So now it's, wow, tongue twister, guys, sorry about that. search.google.com/search console. That's a mouthful for me to say. It looks like this, though. If you click into the search analytics section, once you get everything validated, you're able to look at your pages and see your average click-through rate. And then a good gut check would be to sort everything by the clicks you're getting, by the traffic, and just eyeball your click-through rate. So the average on this site is 5.7. And I noticed right away on pepperjam.com, oh no, this is embarrassing. This is a webinar for our publishers, and then our own page is only getting a 0.8%. Yeah, I know. This is the type of thing you add to a slide, but when I'm locking eyes with Shayna right now, you don't prepare for things like this until you're actually presenting it. That is embarrassing. So what I need to do is I need to go back to this page and really create a title and description that speaks to this audience. Because right now, /publishers is nowhere near our 5.7 average that we should be expecting. And you'll notice right away we're earning 5.7 because of the homepage. So most of our branded traffic, and I'm sure that's the case of your website too. If you do have a branded domain, your homepage is going to be earning a higher click-through rate. So in the new version of Search Console, as well as the old, you could really filter out queries that contain your brand. So I would do that for Pepperjam. And I'd probably see that my true average click-through rate is probably closer to it too. But this 0.8%, guys, I'm sorry. We're doing the webinar. We do care about our Pepperjam fam. I owe you some optimization. So on this slide, I did give you some tools, but I already kind of described it. Just sign up for Search Console, and over on the Performance tab, in the old version, it used to be called Search Analytics. You'll be able to wind up here, look and see Google's own data for how you're keywords, they call them queries. If I click that, you'll see this, all of what is a page at the moment. I'll change over to queries, and it will show you exactly the phrases that you're already earning traffic on. The neat part about the new version of Search Console is you can compare year over year. So we can finally see in SEO where we're weaker than we used to be. The thing about organic data is it's no longer pulled through in Google Analytics. So if you click on keywords for organic in Google Analytics, it says not provided. Back in 2011, Google wound up screening out a lot of that data. So the way you see if you are hot or cold as an organic marketer is to pop into this link here, search.google.com. So sign up for this if you haven't already, because this will certainly help you measure. And I feel like on an SEO Basics webinar, I got to say the tired and true phrase, things you focus on, you improve. So measure, measure, measure. Image alt text. Keeping true to the tennis ball example, I had to show a picture of a cute puppy. Had to. When it comes to images, so as you saw in search results, we talked about those shopping ads, those ads that have images in them. Google didn't do that by accident. They didn't move the ads from the right of the screen to over the text ads on accident. They found that their searchers, you and I, we're clicking on those things. We engage with images. It's almost as if we would rather click on an organic image or an image ad than text. And I really feel that image alt text is something that you're going to want to add to your SEO toolkit. And as part of a basics course, I want to at least touch on that. So to tie an image on your website to text that you might find in your keyword research would be like this. You'd use alternative text to do so. So just like rel equals follow, in your image links, there's a alt text parameter called alt equals, and then you could put your keywords inside it. You don't want to stuff, you don't want to have your keyword in there multiple times, but you do want to describe what the image is about, because this field is really used for screen readers. It's really used so your audience who might be visually impaired is able to still use and access your website. It's also a great opportunity for SEO. So all of your images on your website, use the alt text, the image alternative text, and pair your images up with the keywords while also describing them. I wouldn't say that you need to do this for each and every image on your page, but if you had something like a product page, you might want to do alt text on your products. Your logo probably makes sense, but I don't know that it makes a ton of sense to do in your footer. Like, let's say you accept Visa and MasterCard. That's probably a little too much, that there's better things that you could spend time, energy, and effort on than trying to put alt text on each image. So as you think about this practice and which keywords you could tie to your images through alt text, I would say take it with a grain of salt and optimize the images that are most important, because this is your opportunity to get an organic click from Google Images. And as we as searchers are clicking on those ads with images in them, there's still an opportunity for organic marketers to earn traffic from images as well. So you'll see in the lower right corner, I did give you the recommendation about alt text for this image might be really descriptive. Dalmatian puppy playing fetch. But there's also an opportunity to name your images. So if this image is named puppy.jpg, you can also use keywords in your file save in the file name too. All stuff to think about. So as we're nearing the end of this tutorial, I want to call out header tags. And I want to update, since the last time we did an SEO Basics course, there's been one update. So another Google Webmaster Trends analyst commented that when it comes to the header tags of how you break your page up, so a header tag in this example, this left side really is the web page, and this right side is just how things shake out. But the H1, the first header, heading number 1, was how to surf. And then getting the right gear is an H3. Somewhere in between the two, I must have scrolled, and you probably don't see it in the screenshot, but there was an H2 for steps. And in 2018, the question was asked, does it matter anymore to only have one H1? So one, figure that kind of like the visible title for your visitors that's above your content. It used to be that you only needed one, but Google said they don't care anymore. Now that's not the case. So the real takeaway with this is I think headings still matter. And while I recommend you still take the tired and true approach of having one H1, as many H2s as you need. Under the H2, have an H3. Under the H3, have an H4 if you need to go back to an H2. The real goal behind this is to think about it this way. How might I use headers to make my content more engaging so that readers can read the sections that they need to and stay on this page longer? So less about stuffing keywords in the title and H1, making sure they match, and more about how do I make this page useful to my visitors. I want to give you the tip before I leave you of where you can stay in tune with what's going on in SEO. I still like the Moz Company and their beginner's guide for SEO. I think their Whiteboard Friday videos are pretty good. And if you're ever in need to answer a question, it's always a Google search away or a Moz search away on what the best practice might look like. I think Google's own webmaster blog really does a good job with keeping me up to date so that I'm able to have these webinars and tell you what's going on in organic search, as well as Search Engine Land, Search Engine Roundtable, Brian Dean's Backlinko, his blog, great content on there. And then I think it's worth getting some certifications. These are all free. So SEMrush, even though the tool itself is not free, to go through their academy and get a certification, SEMrush for SEOs, that's all free. I recommend the Google Analytics, Google AdWords certifications. That'll help you, as well as HubSpot inbound certification to learn more about buyer funnel keyword research. So we have gone quite a bit, but we still have a few minutes for questions. I'm going to pass it over to Shana.
Thanks so much, Steve. I think that was really, really helpful. A lot of great information there. So before we hop into the questions, I just want to mention, I know a couple of the things were cut off in some of these slides, and that's my fault. I apologize for that. I am going to send everybody who attended today a copy of the deck. Steve's going to be busy optimizing our publishers page on Pepperjam, but I will be sure to send everybody a copy of this deck so you guys have all of the information. So now let's jump into some of the questions. We got some great questions. First one I have here is, how do you create sufficient value, Steve? Maybe you could elaborate a little bit on exactly what you mean by that.
You know, it's going to be subjective based on what your website does. So I got to answer the question in a real general sense, but to whoever asked this, creating sufficient value, I'm really not sure what your website is, but I'm going to use the example. Let's say you're trying to recreate Retail Me Not. And right now, if you were to search, let's say Puma shoe spawn coat, there's a good shot that Retail Me Not already has a landing page for that. And Google is already giving them the #1 spot. And if you are a newer site and you're trying to do the same thing, you're going to have to learn, and not learn, you're going to have to earn a lot of authority, a lot of brand awareness to have the right to outrank Retail Me Not for that same strategy. And when it comes to sufficient value, these are really Google's words. And what Google's trying to say is if your landing page has no text on it other than an outdated coupon code, no searcher is going to find that page valuable enough. And because that's probably true, Google doesn't feel confident enough to rank your site more often. They will when there's no competition, depending on what's searched. But what they're really trying to say with efficient value is write more on your landing page. Help your visitor know about that product, know about that topic, write thoroughly, completely. Because you know why? You're up against websites that did this. They took the time to record videos, write 1,200 words. And if you didn't do that, earning backlinks or paying for backlinks, you're still going to be number 2 to the large brands that did go through that process. So I know I said that in a real vague way because I'm not exactly sure what the intent is for the landing page, but just keep it to this. Sufficient value means write enough or add enough visual content that your spin on the internet and your spin on the traffic that you earn, your visitors will leave and go somewhere else feeling like you added to their buying decision.
Okay. Fantastic. And we have a lot of questions. You guys sure waited till the end to send them through. So just in case we don't answer your question, I will include every question and answer in the follow-up. So we'll make sure we get answers out there for everybody. I do have a couple of questions here on video. First of all, how do you rank for a video, Steve?
With the video, so YouTube is owned by Google, so you could rank it in the Google search results. You could rank it on YouTube, and it's probably another course that we could have just devoted to YouTube optimization. So what I'll do to draw a parallel to what you just learned in the slides, let's do this. So if you download these slides and you get to the part that talks about the meta title, treat your YouTube video just like you would the meta title there. So optimize for keyword, engaging enough that someone wants to click on it, but first and foremost, the title needs to match the content that is the video. But the name of the game with any of these systems is once you do rank, earn the click, and then you'll continue to rank. And it works that way going from position 10 to position 1. So just earn the click, treat the title of your page, treat the title of your video, keywords, earn the click. And do the same with your description too. So in this slideshow, drawing the parallel to the description, in here in your meta description, I call out 320 characters. The description on YouTube can be much longer than that, but something to note is when you use YouTube, the description truncates. So for this audience, I think it's awesome opportunity to include a link in the first couple characters before it gets truncated and the visitor has to click show more. But write as much as you need to describe the video. So titles, descriptions, earn the click.
Thanks so much, Dave. Next question, and I think this goes back to the slide on SEO myths. Somebody asked, what kind of proof do you have for your tips and your advice, aside from what a decade of experience?
So I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. What sort of proof is really A/B testing? So just as I said in the slides, is proof of concept. Really, I'm focused more so on enterprise brands and optimizing their website. So my day-to-day here is really on the advertiser side. And as far as, I think you're specifically talking about how do I know Google follows the no follow even it's there. And I made a very bold statement in there, and I have a feeling that's what you're saying. And I said, as long as someone clicks your link, someone being any visitor online, that should be good enough. And you know what? I'm holding true to that because with any of the studies that are out online, and right now, there's a correlation between website gets traffic, website gets more SEO traffic. And regardless of if that's from a social channel marked as no follow or, you know, I would say I need to be a little bit more white hat and say don't buy links, but just focus on, is this link useful? And if people think it's useful and they vote for it being useful by clicking through the link and staying on your site, you are never going to be in the wrong. And what gives me the right to be able to make such bold statements is I've seen it in the wild, so much so that I keep your eyes out. Look at your Google Analytics, and if you get a link, look at your refers in Google Analytics. Did it give you the lift? If it did, do you see a same correlating lift in organic? I am, and I think you will too, and that's why I made that bold statement.
Thanks, Steve. And we are coming up on the hour, and there's still quite a few questions in here. So I think what we're going to do is wrap things up. I'm going to send everybody who is an attendee here an email. The deck will be attached. We'll have answers to everybody's questions that we didn't do. You can feel free to reply to me if you have any additional questions or if you want to talk about anything with Steve. So I will send this out within the next half hour or so. We're also going to have a recorded version of this webinar, which will be available on the Publisher Knowledge Center page, so on pepperjam.com. So I will let you all know when that is available, and I'd like to thank you all for your time today. Thank you so much, Steve, for helping us out with some SEO tips and information. I know you'll be busy working on that publisher page this afternoon. But thank you all so much for coming today and attending, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks.